This is a very quick exercise and idea that you can apply to a number of things that you do just to keep the spring alive. I like to use this as a conditioning drill for people who do lots of jumping. It maintains all the kind of joint integrity and also if we're getting old, we kind of want to keep that spring going right into our late years. It'll help with plenty of things that I don't want to talk about right now, but it's good for you anyway. So the first idea is that we want to keep this kind of light to moderate intensity. You don't want to make it so hard that it feels like, the joints really have to work. It should just feel like they're pleasantly working rather than working really, really hard. And then we just start with the first idea, which is just to bounce on the spot, and there's plenty of this kind of thing happening where you just stay on the spot. You want to be reasonably relaxed through all your joints. But this is where the drill gets a bit more specific. We're going to attend to our 3 directions, so forward, back, left, right, rotate one way or another, just to make sure we don't miss any lines, because when we just jump on the spot, usually our legs find the habitual way of doing that and it'll just strengthen that part of the legs and not the rest of the tissue. So by going forward, back, left, right and rotating, then we get a bigger chance to hit other parts of the tissue. So the first one is forward and backwards, and all I'm going to do is kind of go forward and backwards. The second one is side to side. Nice and easy. And of course, I don't really have so much room to do it here, but you can do bigger jumps if you've got the integrity in the tissue to do that. Again, if you're doing big jumps and it's really feeling like the knees are starting to cop it or the ankles, then you need to do smaller jumps until they're more ready. And then the internal and external rotation, we're actually, instead of doing this kind of thing, because that's often people just avoid doing the actual rotation part on the legs, we're going to turn the legs inwards like this and outwards like this on each jump. So it's a bit like a kind of ballet-esque exercise. And that way we're training this capacity to be springy in a reasonable amount of directions that will cover a good amount of tissue. You can do this all on one foot and the other as well. It's much harder, so please take it easy with that. And you can go forward and backwards, left and right, and internal, external rotation, kind of like this. And then on the other leg as well. And then after you've kind of done a general version of it where you're not doing anything particular with which joints are working, you can kind of upgrade it to where you isolate it to a particular joint to make that joint work a little harder than the other joints. This is for later once the general bouncing's working well. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to split into 2 parts, the ankles and then the knees and the hips together. So to do the ankles, we really want to lock the knees and the hips pretty tightly, use a bit of tension here. Start up, and then you want to start to bounce kind of like a rigid man. When you do either of these exercises or the next one that I show you, you really want to make sure when you land on the ground, it's as quiet as possible and as soft as possible. If you're getting these big heavy landings that are kind of vibrating up through your body, it's going to make problems over time. So these really cat-like or ninja-like landings all the time. Of course, as soon as we have bouncing, we can apply our directions just with this concept overlaid on top. So we've got forward, back, left, right, internal and external rotation, but with the locked knees, forward, back, left, right, internal, external. So it makes the ankles work a little bit harder. And then the second way of doing it is to actually take the ankles out of the equation. So you make the knees and hips work. And this is actually the trickier one, because to land softly like this, to land silently, takes a reasonable amount of control. If you can't do it softly and silently yet, don't do too many of them. Just play around with it until you can get the coordination, and then you want to pick it up. But you basically want to land flat-footed or even on your heels. It looks a bit silly, but it actually gets the knees working and the hips. And then you go left and right, forward and backwards, internal, external. Then if you want, you can return to the general one. You should feel the effect the others have had. But again, to kind of dial this for you, you really need to be paying attention to what the joints feel like, whether they feel like they're overloaded, Of course, in the beginning, if you've never done any bouncing, they're going to be a little bit achy, but just don't drive too far into that. Preference taking your time, preference it feeling pleasant, and doing kind of high volumes of really, really easy versions. So, you know, if you do 10 and you're completely like, my ankles, rest a bit, but as soon as you feel like you're up to it, do another 10 or do even 5, and you can do like 5 regularly throughout the day or anything like this. As far as reps, again, you want them to come up. So 30 at least on each of them would be a kind of guideline, but again, listen to your ankles, listen to your knees. Don't just do 30 because I said 30 is a good number. It's just to give you an idea, and later if you're really wanting to condition the knees, you can do higher and higher volumes of these very, very simple bounces. You know, when the knees are used to doing big landings, big jumps, then you're going to want to be doing like in the hundreds of these. Light exercises, it's just repetitive, bouncy movement to condition the tissue. Have fun.